In 2026, the average first-time homebuyer needs to earn over $110,000 to qualify for a median-priced home. That's up from just $60,000 3 years ago. Despite the headlines claiming affordability is improving, the data from NAR and Bank of America's 2026 reports show the exact opposite for first-timers. Their share of the market has cratered to just 24% of all purchases, down from 32% in 2023, and their median age is now 38. The question isn't if they're struggling, but why they're struggling more now than before, and it's not just interest rates. And stick with me, because the last part of this is the piece almost everyone gets wrong, and it's the part that decides whether you win or lose here. Okay, let's talk about the silent shift that's been redefining the American dream. Despite the headlines you're seeing about improved buyer confidence, here's the stark reality. First-time homebuyers now make up just 24% of all purchasers, a pretty dramatic plunge from 32% in 2023. That's not just a statistic. It's a fundamental change in who can access homeownership. The median age for a first-time buyer is also up 3 years since 2023, now hitting 38. That means for many, the dream is just getting further and further out of reach. This isn't just about rising rates. It's a systemic lockout. We're going to dive deep into the numbers from NAR, Bank of America, and what Nick Jurley from Reventure is seeing on the ground to unpack this growing income trap. You're going to see why, even as some market indicators seem to soften, the entry barrier for new buyers is quietly, but firmly, getting higher. So, if first-time buyers are feeling more confident, why has their share of the market collapsed to its lowest point in decades? This isn't just a dip, it's a seismic shift, a redefinition of accessibility. As of September 11, 2025, first-time homebuyers make up only 24% of all purchasers, a significant drop from 32% just 2 years prior. Consider the implications. Nearly 1/3 of the market, traditionally vital for driving new construction and neighborhood stability, has essentially evaporated. Simultaneously, the median age for these buyers has now climbed to 38 years, up a concerning 3 years from 2023. We're witnessing a landscape where the quintessential American dream of early homeownership, a cornerstone of wealth building, is being pushed further and further into the future, becoming a distant aspiration for many. Now, this isn't solely a recent phenomenon. A sustained decline in mortgage rates from 2000 to 2021 actually masked deep-seated, systemic affordability issues for years. Those issues, however, have now resurfaced with a vengeance, amplified by current economic pressures. Jay Thomas on HAR.com blogs highlights this stark reality for 2026, stating that despite improved market conditions like slightly lower rates and increased inventory, affordability remains the primary hurdle for first-time buyers, eclipsing even competition or credit scores. For example, my cousin, Dr. Sarah Jenkins, a software engineer here in Austin, meticulously saved a 10% down payment on a $400,000 starter home in the Cedar Park area, a substantial $40,000. But after factoring in astronomical property taxes approaching $8,000 annually, rising insurance premiums, and current interest rates, her projected monthly payment soared to almost $3,100. Despite a strong six-figure income, she just couldn't make the numbers work without drastically compromising her financial stability. This brings us to the core problem, the confidence paradox. Why are buyers feeling good, armed with savings and optimism, but still unable to actually buy? But if buyers feel more confident, why aren't they actually buying? This is the confidence paradox. The Bank of America's 2026 Homebuyer Insights report, released early this year, shows a pretty stunning disconnect. For the first time since 2023, a majority, 53% of consumers, actually favor buying over renting. And get this, homebuyer confidence is actually rising, with 32% feeling more confident this year, a 5-point jump from 27% last year. People want to buy? They feel like it's a good time. So what's stopping them? The report makes it abundantly clear. Affordability. Despite the psychological readiness, the economic reality is a brick wall. A staggering 58% of respondents cite expensive home prices as the top barrier, and 47% point to high interest rates. It's a classic case of what psychologist Daniel Kahneman might call a cognitive illusion, where sentiment outpaces tangible market access. You're ready, you're motivated, you've saved, but the numbers just don't add up. It's like having the perfect golf swing, but no club in your hand. This isn't just about a few aspirational buyers. It's a systemic limitation pushing an entire demographic out of the market, even as their desire to enter it intensifies. Think about a couple I spoke with in the Phoenix metro, the Millers. They've saved diligently, improved their credit, and emotionally, they're ready. But with the median home price still elevated and rates locking in a payment well beyond their comfort zone, that confidence translates into endless open house visits, not actual offers. And it leads to a critical question. How do those rising interest rates truly squeeze out the hopeful first-time buyer? But if buyer confidence is rising, why are high mortgage rates still crushing their budgets? That's the core of the hidden costs. While Morgan Stanley strategists on January 13, 2026, projected a decline in rates for 2026, especially in the first half, the reality on the ground has been a stubborn barrier. The Bank of America's 2026 report clearly shows that 47% of consumers are still citing high interest as a major affordability hurdle. Think about it. The long period of ultra-low mortgage rates we saw from 2000 to 2021 effectively expanded household budgets, even when wage growth was relatively stagnant. A lower rate meant you could afford more house for the same monthly payment. Now, we're seeing the stark reversal of that trend. A 7% mortgage rate on a median-priced home in, say, Nashville, demands a significantly higher monthly outlay than a 3% rate did a few years ago. This isn't just theory. It's a tangible hit to purchasing power. Jeff Ostrowski from Bankrate, back on August 5, 2026, indicated that these persistent challenges are directly impacting first-time homebuyer budgets, preventing them from translating confidence into actual purchases. Combine that with a tighter lending environment in 2026, a far cry from the credit expansions of the 2000s, and you have a financial gauntlet for anyone trying to get their first set of keys. This makes the down payment, the average 6% required for first-time buyers, feel even more out of reach. So, what's the bitter pill the market's been forcing buyers to swallow? And why did 2026 specifically crush the dream for so many? So if confidence is up, why did 2026 feel like the year the dream of homeownership truly died for so many? This isn't just about feeling good. It's about the market's bitter pill of reality. California, for example, serves as a stark illustration of this crisis. As of Q2 2026, mid-tier home prices there stood at approximately $775,000, more than double the national median. You can feel confident all you want, but that kind of price tag makes the numbers impossible for most first-time buyers. Dr. Daryl Fairweather, Redfin's chief economist, was clear on April 22, 2026, when she debunked the Wall Street conspiracy theories. She stated that even Wall Street couldn't crash the market, but she did acknowledge its current weakness, a pretty significant understatement for what many are experiencing. Demand has plummeted to near-pandemic lows, and pending home sales were down a full 4% year-over-year as of spring 2026, indicating a broad slowdown in transactions. This isn't a small blip, it's a market actively constricting. The 2026 report from Pearl, released on March 26, 2026, synthesizing 2 years of data from 2024 and 2025, confirmed the compounding effect of these market pressures on first-time homebuyers. It's a vicious cycle where rising prices, even with seemingly better sentiment, just shut more people out. Think about it. An average down payment of 6 to 7% on a national median home price is already a stretch for most, let alone double that in a market like California. This isn't just about high prices or high rates. It's about the very structure of the market shifting beneath our feet. But what does this unseen shift truly mean for your future? But if buyers are feeling more confident, and yet the dream is still crushing, what does this truly mean for the future of homeownership in America? This year, we're seeing a significant uptick in short sales replacing traditional foreclosures, signaling a deeply bifurcated market. As veteran real estate analyst Glenn Morgenstern noted in his Q3 2026 market update on July 16th, this isn't just a semantic shift. It's financially distressed homeowners opting for a controlled exit, often selling below market value to avoid the public stigma and credit damage of foreclosure. This trend is already leading to specific submarkets, particularly in regions like Phoenix's outer suburbs and parts of inland California, being flooded with properties priced for quick liquidation. This isn't about widespread bank repossessions on the scale of the 2008 crisis, but rather a significant segment of struggling sellers offloading before they hit rock bottom. This dynamic creates a clear separation. On one side, a class of financially secure, often all-cash buyers, frequently institutional investors like BlackRock or local syndicates, ready to swoop in. On the other, first-time homebuyers, or FTHBs, who are not only delayed but, in many cases, priced out indefinitely. Consider the alarming data from the National Association of Realtors' September 11, 2025 report. FTHBs now make up a mere 24% of all purchasers, a sharp decline from 32% just 2 years prior. The median age for a first-time homebuyer has jumped to 38, up 3 years from 2023's average. This isn't just a delay. It's a fundamental reshaping of the demographics of homeownership, indicating that traditional paths are increasingly obsolete. The combination of sustained high prices, elevated interest rates hovering around 7%, and stagnant wage growth isn't a temporary blip. It's the new normal. For anyone hoping to buy, it necessitates entirely new strategies for financial planning, perhaps moving beyond the conventional 20% down payment aspiration and exploring alternative financing structures. This isn't just a tough market, it's a structural reset. So the quiet collapse of first-time homebuyer affordability in 2026 wasn't a sudden implosion, but a gradual erosion, a widening chasm between rising optimism and the stubborn, unforgiving reality of the market. It's a testament to the fact that emotional confidence doesn't always translate into purchasing power, especially when median home prices in California are double the national average, or when FTHBs now average 38 years old. Without systemic shifts in supply, regulatory frameworks, or perhaps even a reevaluation of our monetary policy, the dream of homeownership for the next generation risks becoming an increasingly elusive fantasy. Did the lock-in effect, or the sheer frustration of competing against all-cash buyers, ever make you reconsider your own financial strategy? Let me know your experience in the comments below. And if you want to understand how these macro trends impact your local market, subscribe for more data-driven insights. Next, you'll want to watch my breakdown of why the Phoenix Metro saw inventory jump 32%, while median sale prices only dipped 4% year over year, and what that signals for H2 2026.